This video aims to help you look, sound, and feel more like a pianist, even if you're still in the beginning stages of your journey. To do this, we must address our hand position and how we utilize our fingers, hands, arms, shoulders, our whole body really, at the piano. So here are 3 common hand position mistakes with solutions and exercises. Number 1, stiff wrists. This is the most common hand position issue that I see in adults. Musical and physical problems arise from playing with stiff wrists. Musically, your playing will sound stiff and flat. Physically, it takes effort to keep your wrist in this tight position, and that effort creates extra tension. Think about how you move your hands and wrists throughout the day. There isn't a task that requires you to keep your wrists perfectly still and stiff. They're always moving, rotating, and staying flexible, even if it's very subtle. That's just the natural way we move. You tuck your hair behind your ears, your wrist is flexible and rotating. You wave hello, and you're also rotating and it's flexible. In the Faber Follow Along piano course, we use these wrist lifts. We also address rotation, but there's really not enough time to add that to our lesson today because it's a lot and very subtle and in-depth. Watch this video for more information. So you lead with the wrists and just let the fingers hang. As you come back down, you're going to gradually return to your starting position with your wrists in line. Lift your wrists one at a time and then at the same time. So far, we've lifted straight up and then down, but now use that same motion and just slightly rotate towards the right. And now to the left. A couple of important points. Your hands and wrist should look graceful. The fingers are very passive. They're not actively pointing down and then coming up. Lift the wrists, shake your hand to make sure they're loose, and then come back down. This wrist lift is an important motion in piano playing, but sometimes it's not very obvious. So when you practice your wrist lifts, gradually make the motion smaller. And then take this to the piano as well. So play a single note with your pointer finger as if you're on your way down from your lift. Then release the key as you lift your wrist up and come back down with your middle finger. Lift in the same way, then play with your ring finger, and so on. Number 2, flat or over-curved hand position. Another widespread hand position mistake is playing to extremes, either with an over-curved position or a very flat shape. Many of us learn to curve our hands as if holding a ball, right? The problem is, if I'm holding a ball, I'm gripping it. For the most part, we don't want to grip the keys. It creates extra tension, and holding a ball implies a very rounded shape, which means we'd actually be playing on the very, very tippy part of our fingers by our nail. When teachers say to play on the fingertips, they actually mean the pads of the fingers. This over-curved shape is highly unnatural. Even when I do a claw like this, it's hard to make my fingers move even away from the piano. We don't need or want the gripping muscles interfering with our piano technique. Playing with a flat roof or flat fingers highlights our finger length inequality. And your fingers won't learn how to support your arm weight, your torso weight, which means playing loudly, quickly, and accurately will be challenging. There are 2 easy ways to find your natural hand position. First, stand up and relax your arms down. Give them a nice shake to make sure your fingers and hands are completely loose and hanging. Then go to the piano and place your hands on the keys without changing your hand shape or tensing up. Now you have a naturally curved hand position shape. The other easy way is to make a fist with one hand and then lay the other on top. So don't grip the bottom hand, just relax it over it like it's a blanket over your fist. And again, you have your naturally curved shape. Mistake number 3, collapsing joints. All joints in your fingers need to be firm, not tense, but firm. Sometimes it's the big knuckle that caves in. Other times it's the first joint closest to the nail. And even that middle knuckle can collapse for those double-jointed folks like me. With a supported hand position, the weight comes from my forearm and my shoulders and whole torso. But playing with a collapsed joint transfers the weight to different areas. Again, this creates extra tension and is difficult to play with power and agility. Solving this problem takes time. My pinky knuckles used to collapse, and playing with a firm joint seemed impossible. But with consistent attention, I was able to fix it. I began by playing a pinky note, then popping up and supporting my knuckle from underneath with my other hand. I would hold my pinky firmly to develop the muscles needed to maintain that structure. Then I would remove my finger from underneath and try to keep my firm pinky. After a few weeks of consistent effort, I could play a pinky note with my other hand underneath but not touching, just as a reminder to stay supported. Then I completely removed my right hand and could play a pinky note without it collapsing. After I could play one note with my pinky, I'd add another note after it, then a 5-finger pattern, then intervals, then chords. So I took very small baby steps until I reached my goal. Whatever joint is giving you trouble, work like I did, little by little. If it's a first joint problem, try bracing it with your thumb. Hold, then move your thumb away and see if you can maintain the support. Come back to this consistently, remembering that it's not an overnight fix and just knowing that it will get better. So these 3 common hand position mistakes aren't the only issues you might encounter, but they are the most common. Stiff wrists, flat or overcurved hands, and collapsing joints. Address these issues today so your technique can keep up with your mind and your ability to learn quickly. I attached the Minuet PDF score if you want to experiment with what we discussed today, but really all of these things apply to all music, so you can apply it to your own pieces. Our goal is to work with our natural body movements at the piano. We never want to let tension or poor technique get in the way of playing with ease. Let me know if you've struggled with these 3 hand position mistakes and what you did to fix them or how you're about to fix them. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me.